Borough Council Workshop Meeting. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
But roll call, please.
Councilman Long.
Here.
Councilman Mellis.
Present.
Councilwoman Carpenter.
Present.
Councilwoman Rezac.
Present.
Chairman Suvich.
Present.
Councilman Moda. Here. And Councilwoman Benza.
Present.
Here. Are there any additional emergency agenda items? You have no registered comments from the public? This time I'll take comments from the public. Approach the podium, raise your virtual hand. State your name and address. You have nobody? Nobody on virtual hand? Thank you. Where we stand, Jason, with the borough manager search?
Sure, right now we have 3 applicants currently. We're keeping the position open as we generate more applicants right now. I expect that to increase as we get through the month of December.
When did we want the applications in by?
I mean, they were asked for November 14th.
Okay, that's what I thought.
And we're continuing to generate interest. We'll say.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Okay, thank you. The stamp grant update, we applied for a stamp grant. I got a phone call from State Representative Joe McAndrew yesterday. We are approved for $101,000 for security updates in the system, the computers and the cameras and everything like that. So we're not allowed to do anything with it yet till we get the paperwork processed and get the legal thing. It's probably gonna be announced Monday from this representative's office. Just giving everybody a heads up, we're getting 101,000.
What's the match on it?
I'm not sure.
It's either going to be, I think that it's 10%.
I think it's, and I wasn't really sure. Whatever, yeah, so.
Okay.
And there's been a lot of questions about the borough, the paving program that's been taking a long time. I contacted Matt Friday. And he caught a hold of El Grande. He said he's having trouble dealing with them people. They're really slow. But they're supposed to come in either, they said to him they're gonna have it done either Wednesday or Friday, weather dependent. Naturally, they couldn't do nothing today. So hopefully by Friday, they'll have like Front Street, Sylvan Way, Heron, all them roads that are behind or down. That's all I have. Mayor?
I just have a real quick comment. Chief's not here today, this evening. He's at the graduating academy where he hired hiring 2 Officer Jordan Brazil and Jonathan Priest. They're just freshly out of the academy and they've been coming in and they're doing a good job so far. The next meeting in December, I'll be swearing them in. That's all I have this time.
Very good, thanks. Managers items?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The junior council person update, we've been reaching out to our counterpart over in Oakmont with regard to this program. Both communities have a junior council program right now. I recently did a presentation to the high school students over at Riverview Academy, at the Riverview School. Did their morning session and their afternoon session. Had about maybe 20 kids total that were between the 2 sessions, and very interested class, very involved, and we discussed the program as well. So there is some interest in this, which is good. I mean, I think that the goal is maybe to even target a junior or someone in the school, but right now there is continued interest being generated, and I would expect that there's a possibility someone could potentially be sitting up here sometime next half of the school year. So certainly a possibility.
Very good.
Which is good. Yes. The next item on here is just wanted to bring to the council's attention that we received a formal request as well as the legal documents that are in your packet there for a request to vacate a portion of James Street. Now this was already done possibly a year or so ago, but it was for the portion that is closest to the river. And this represents the portion that is in front of the property up to the roadway. So, I'm not sure exactly what, it was behind why it had to be done in phases like this, but the second half of James Street now coming up to the roadway is the part that is being requested to be vacated now. The solicitor had sent me, and I included in your packets there, the two processes that are followed whenever, either the borough initiates this or when a resident initiates this. So he's aware, the solicitor certainly aware of the path that will take with a resident requesting this. So I did want to ask though, if the borough wanted, to pursue this, because council still has to, consider moving forward with, entertaining a vacation of a roadway. So are there any reasons that we might have to ask more questions about this early on? Is there something that you want me to do some additional research on before we proceed with what essentially would be the advertising, the hearing that the board would have and so forth?
I have a question. It is a small section from Penn Street to the river, that section. But it's also with what is it, Christine Davis consult. She's an archaeologist down there. How's that going to affect them? I mean, I think the property. I mean, they park their cars, off to the left there as going towards the river. Is it going to be a shared property or taking over the whole thing? You see what I'm saying? Because they both use it at this time.
And I also can add that there's a sewer entrance at the end of that street.
Huge one.
To give you a little background, Jason, the reason the first half of the property was vacated was because they actually have a shed built.
Yeah.
Right.
So and they've been maintaining the property that the shed's on by both removing snow and debris and maintaining the shed. So I believe we vacated the property that the shed was on. At the time, I think they wanted all of it then also. But we only were willing to vacate where the shed was because we couldn't do anything with it anyway. There was a garage. So I think we definitely need to discuss this because I think that it would be in the best, in my opinion, it would be the best interest for the borough to keep that property. Because, like I said, it's access to a very large, I think it's a 6-foot diameter sewer tunnel down there.
It's big down there.
And we need to clean it once in a while. Check it because things get in there, people get in there.
If I remember last time, then
They do.
if I remember last time, they had diagrams of what part they wanted to vacate. So we want some pictures,
I would ask for that and also I won't be here in a month, but I'm very reluctant to just give away borough property, especially property that we need to access. So
I do also remember, thank you, because some of that detail I didn't totally remember. And there was a lot to it. It took meeting after meeting after meeting. I remember Matt was involved. I remember looking at maps of the property outline and drawing lines and us really poring over this material and kind of came up with a compromise because of the thing with the garage. But I remember going there in person, looking at it. I remember us drawing the line where the actual vacation we were going to allow, but why we did not want to allow the rest. It did kind of involve the other people, the parking, everything everyone is saying. It was a big
It was a big ordeal.
Huge.
I think we also got feedback from the police, the fire, DPW. And people like that, and the solicitor, they all kind of recommend it.
I do think one of the things was they were concerned about the fact that if it was our property, that it wasn't being maintained by our people very well. And if it's gonna be our property, then they needed to cut the grass, which is the part that was gonna remain our property, and plow that little part of the street. I have no idea in the ensuing years what has happened with that. But
Yeah, the
we
road-
need to dig into this, maybe.
Yeah, they need to do a lot of research.
Yeah,
Did you check and ask AJ if DPW has been cutting that grass and or
weeds.
plowing it in the winter? And also, if they're not, maybe get an estimate of how much of a workload it would be for them to start doing it.
Yep.
So
And
that
there
way we
is,
can weigh whether it's worth it or not.
I haven't been down there in a while, but I don't think there's no asphalt either. I think it's all gravel, you know, so
I
much
mean,
gravel.
at one time, it was
Yeah,
asphalt, but
yeah.
It's all
probably need to be
deteriorated.
paved. And that's also something we would have to look at in the future if we repave James Street.
How far we wanna go.
We go all the way to the jet, if it's ours.
And Jason, just to give you an update, like Vince said, that shed's been there since I was a young kid, probably close to 90, 100 years on that property.
Okay.
When records were kept real good.
also, I'm just wondering, number 20 on their petition. It says, as indicated on the attached survey, but I'm not seeing a survey.
Right.
That would be helpful. I remember this survey was part of the deal from last time. Did you want that up there on the thing?
I do.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just reading number 14 there too.
Oh, come.
Yeah.
The tree.
Yeah, there's a lot more that needs to be back
Yeah.
on this and looked into.
Yep. Yeah, I'll put a request in, look into some of these items here and follow it back up. Like I said, the way this came about was an initial phone call and then followed by the document that you have in your packet, so just gets the ball started.
Also to your 14 there. I believe, I could be wrong, maybe somebody can remind me, but I believe the trees in the right of way are the responsibility of the property owner.
I thought so.
Pretty sure.
They are.
Yeah, it is. It's just that if the borough needs the right of way for a telephone pole maintenance or something like that, that's the right of way. But other than that, I think we have to maintain all the way to the curb.
But I mean, if a tree, if a tree is in the right of way and it like falls on a car or something, that's the property's owner's
I think
responsibility.
so.
And we can ask Trey
Yeah,
business meeting, but I think that's how.
yeah.
Any other questions, guys?
Number 17, interesting.
If I could, one item that I would like to add is that we had talked about in, one of the previous meetings about the super committee structure for next year. As part of next week's, or rather, in the meeting in December, wanted to see if, council would be amenable to, working that next meeting somewhat like like one of the super committees would work. Just to kind of introduce the concept. I know that a lot of the committee meetings have been canceled, mainly for the purpose of, there's, as you come to the end of the year, a lot of committees start to cancel their meetings and things like that. Board members are gonna be changing and things like that, or council members are gonna be changing, so, they wanna, really start new in January, but just want to run that by you just because of the fact that there's, it's a new concept we're looking to introduce. It's I think it could be beneficial for the public to see how that could potentially play out for everyone. And just want to get your feedback on that idea.
I also want to ask about that, because normally we cancel our workshop meeting in December. And this year it falls on the 20th.
Yeah, are you saying to try it out instead of the business meeting on December 9th?
Well, it could possibly be part of that a little bit, just to, possibly introduce this is the front part of it. Just to maybe start reviewing the agenda, talk about, we could have some, because there are some committees that do have some items. I know, Councilman Javelis had sent out the citizen complaint form, that's going to be considered. That's a great topic for you all as a group to possibly consider during a super committee. It's something he's going to be bringing to a business meeting at some point, but that could be a great topic to, consider for that.
While we're on the topic too, just to remind everybody here, our next meeting on December 9th is at 6 o'clock, not 7.
So what is your thoughts on that then?
Hey, I'll let other people lead on that. I don't know how that would look,
Okay.
but I'm open to trying anything about that.
Are you asking if we want to move it to 6 p.m. possibly next year?
I think as, we talked about how the time that we would need to dedicate towards a single super committee meeting rather than all the other meetings could be longer.
Yeah.
So, an earlier start might be necessary for that. So I do think a 6 p.m. start would be best. But
Oh, for the entire year,
right.
next year.
So since you are starting at 6 for this one, this could be kind of the, for this upcoming meeting, this could be the start of that as well. Just to see how it works.
Well, I know that when you presented this information to us a meeting or two ago, you mentioned Dormont. I did a search and I couldn't find any other borough in Allegheny County that does it. But I did speak with Melinda Zavo from Dormont, in Erie, because she presented about this. And I'm gonna try to talk to her some more. About how they work it, and what I do know is that they split it up. So like they have 6 committees, had 6, however you wanna do it, you sort of still loosely do have committees. So you talk about 3 of the topics in one of the super committee meetings and 3 of the other topics in a second super committee meeting. They don't do it all in one, so they have 3 meetings a month instead of 2. Otherwise, the super committee meeting could be like 5 hours long. Because you're basically putting all of the regular committee meetings into one meeting, and if a regular committee meeting is an hour or an hour and a half, to 3 hours, 3.5 hours. So
6
3,
committees.
6 hours, yeah. I don't know, maybe we can make it be less verbose. I don't know.
I think for this December meeting, this December 9th one, it's my thoughts. We're gonna be posting the budget. There's gonna probably be a lot of discussions on the budget. I personally think we should just keep it just the regular committee meetings and start, in the January, discuss it to start in January. That's my opinion, Cause you're gonna have a lot of questions about the budget and everything. We start trying to change things up. Just my comments.
So, in these super committee meetings, obviously, there's a lot of topics that are covered in a lot of our committees. How do we whittle down the important stuff, as far as like, first, there's, less important business and then there's very important business. There's time, so just time management. So I mean, so trying to get the important stuff out of the way, and not get hung up on minutia. How do we get the small business out of the way? Do we do that through emails, communication, or is there some other form of, how do you get that managed? So that we don't get hung up on small details or argue over small things and tackle the bigger issues that we need to address in these meetings. That's the thing that I'm worried about. You know, because we do have, some of our meetings can go long.
Can I get a little feedback on that? When I started, each committee made a list of goals that they wanted to achieve in the year. And then we met together as a whole council, talked about all those goals, and we were able to either add or take away what we thought was important. Then we structured it in a list, most important to least important, and that's the order you knocked those goals off. And then if you had a little, like, say one of them was writing a policy that took 4 hours to write, and you were able to do it in 3 hours, but then you had something lower on the list and only took 20 minutes, you could get it done like that. But we made sure that we triaged everything. Most important to least important. Some things like the road closure policy needed done within 2 months of when I started, because we knew booze was coming up in May, and I got on in January, and we needed a road closure policy fast. We had a lot of businesses complaining about not having policy. So that would be my recommendation, that you sit down, have a meeting, go through everything line by line, and then council discusses what's most important, least important. Work on it like that.
And I'm also assuming, using your same example, you spent a lot of time at home working on that policy.
Oh, yeah.
As the head of that particular committee. At that
Council
time.
members have homework every day.
Yeah, right, but I mean, you came prepared with a document. to go
Yes.
For and discuss.
And to what John was saying, very little was done through email for sake of transparency. We did not work on policies behind closed doors. One person would work on a policy and then present it at the committee meeting, and then the other committee members would give input to that policy, and then the head of that committee would go back and tweak the policy and bring it back to the next one. I mean, that's how my committee was.
That's how we've been working all year in our committee.
Yes.
You know, it's been, you know, unfortunately, you know, in order for us to get a good document forward, we have to make sure that we're editing. There's a lot of editing and there's problems that we found. And, you know, unfortunately, we don't want to just put something out there just to put it out there. It has to be good quality and something that's not going to get us into trouble, you know, from a human resources standpoint.
It takes time.
Yeah.
And when you're rushing it, there's gonna be mistakes. And so, just I steal your thunder?
No, not at all. I think that, you know, I think just, you know, I mean, I think there's kind of some mixed, you know, feedback on it that I'm getting, but, if, you know, maybe that December meeting might not be necessarily be the best one, but I do think in December, though, it would be good for us to try to have at least, you know, start developing that approach towards that. 'Cause I think there was positive feedback on wanting to start that in 26, and go into that. So, maybe we can continue to just draft what that potential agenda looks like. Put, you know, something, you know, everyone can start providing some feedback as to what, you know, that might look like. I have a framework for it that I'll pass around, maybe in this Friday's briefing. But I think that it would be good to really start giving that some thought. You know, John, to your point, I think that, you know, whittling things down, I think there's a lot of self-policing that will need to go on by each member, to determine what needs to be brought to that super committee, and then what can they either push to the manager or, you know, things like that to, you know, to provide, you know, some work on. Just my initial thought on that, though.
Yes, I agree with 90% of what you said. I want to add that I think that most of this needs to be talked about in January, because there will be 2 council members. And I think that their input should be accepted. And I don't think all of this should, take place in December. And then in January, the two new council members that go on council don't have a say in how their committee meetings. So, I don't think that's fair.
Mr. Chairman, is it okay if I move on to the revised budget presentation?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. I'm just gonna put the budget presentation up here on the screen again, and everybody's gonna have to get a neck ache again because we haven't fixed the TV yet. This here.
What's wrong with that TV?
So there's a wireless communication piece that they ordered for that. This TV talks to that TV. Just with this wireless link, that thing must have gone bad from one of the storms a couple months ago. They even tried hardwiring it and it would not, connect with the
Maybe,
wire.
maybe just a thought, maybe switching them for the time being, or, you
Put it in the middle.
know what I mean?
Good, and you guys would just have to turn it on.
Well,
But
or
I
maybe
don't-
we should ask the
Just a
company
thought.
to get us a whole new damn unit for up here.
It should be under warranty.
Just get us a whole new one rather than waiting 5 months for a part that's not coming.
I think that's why we bought these TVs, service contract, and if anything broke, they would just come out and fix it.
That,
Can't fix it, just replace it.
yeah, I think they should, because this has been going on for quite some time now. 4 or 5
If
months.
they can bring us a new TV and take that,
And then they,
Worry about
then they
fixing that
can,
when
they
they-
can wait for the part.
I agree.
I think it's just there it is there, trying to get it to. Here. So there's been some changes to the, to the budget, just wanted to kind of go over, with some of the changes that were made to the police department. With the retirements, with some of the departures that we've had, some of the hirings. That has really changed what we had originally worked on for the budget, and I just wanted to refresh a little bit and, talk about what some of those changes were that have been made so that, you kind of understand what we're doing with the budget. We just, since the last presentation, the borough had received the county assessment values for the borough. So the total property values in the borough, when you take everybody's parcels with homes on them, vacant parcels and all that, the borough was worth about exactly $113,749,100 in 2025. In 2026, now this occurred, it increased to $114,361,000. So in reality, a $1 million increase occurred in the borough, about $1 million. Now what that does is that, that increases in our current millage rate. We would expect that our, number one, our mill is going to be worth a little bit more. So last year, our mill was worth around $92,500. This year, it's worth $93,500. Right, it's exactly $93,480. So we take in a little bit more revenue. In fact, it equates to about $10,000 more in our real estate taxes, just because the fact that the value went up. And this can be a result of, when a property sells, it may sell for more than what the assessed value was. This could be a commercial property selling. There's several different reasons as to why those numbers go up. Now, to calculate, the millage rate, though, we have to take off the non-taxable properties in the borough. So we take off the churches, we take off the railroad property, we take off the school district property, our property. Those all come off of that tax assessed value, because even though this property here is tax exempt, it still goes towards that taxable number that the county provides us. So you have to remove that number to actually come up with what the actual dollar amount is that we will be taking in as far as the tax collection goes. But that's a positive thing that's happening with the real estate property values in the borough, that they are improving like that. Just like I mentioned before, our real estate, numbers and our earned income tax numbers remain our primary source of revenue for us. Some of the things that are impacting our revenue in 26 is that we are expecting to increase the amusement tax from $750 to $1,000 per device. And we are also planning to experience, unfortunately, a decrease in our cable franchise fee collection because everybody streams everything now. You don't buy cable packages, and and the borough really was making a fair amount of money on that by having Comcast. Is it Comcast here?
Yeah.
So by having Comcast here, when folks would shop on the home shopping network and all that kind of stuff, our cable franchise fee paid, a pretty good amount of money to the borough. But as people start cutting the cord, we are adversely impacted by that in our revenues. So unfortunately, that's the cost of some technology changes. Our employee wages and benefits were a major impact on the expense side of the budget. If you have attended the last couple of meetings, we have leased 2 police cars in this year's budget that we'll be paying for over the next several years. So that was a pretty big impact to the budget that wasn't forecasted. And then we have our solid waste contract increase goes up next year to the tune of about $100,000. And so we have to spread that all around to everybody. So our expenses increases as well for that particular. Now we do. I want to talk about that a little bit just because we had mentioned this at the last meeting and there was some questions, which I'm glad you asked. Well, what's my rate going to be? I think that's a great question and something good you should be told. So in 25, your rate is $30.04. In 2026, that'll go up to $32.60. But that does not take effect until June 1st. So it's this contract is based off of it's a half-year contract, and so that does not take effect until then. There's a 2% fee that we pay to Oakmont Water to do the billing on this, and for this contract we've increased an administrative fee of 2% for the borough for what we've been through with this contract as well. So that is what the total amount is $32.60 that'll take effect in June. So I've added, and you can see this in some of the budget number. I provided some of the draft budget, the public display budget document back there. But this is what our revenues look like. We've increased our revenues by about $24,800. A lot of this is a direct result of some of those increases in taxes. The other big item on there is probably that trash item in there that I've added, and we've added a sale of a fixed asset. So our revenues have not gone up, from $2,390,918 to $2,415,720. It's only gone up $24,800 in this budget. Our expenses have actually gone. They appear to have gone down on here, but I'll explain why that looks the way that it does. At the end of this year's budget, there's always what's considered a surplus that we expect to have money to start the next year with. We expect to finish next year in this year we expected to finish at around $54,000. Whenever we took into account what we didn't spend and what we carried over, next year we're anticipating to have about $135,000 to start the year with next year. That's how we expect to finish that year. Some of the major impacts that the council will need to be considering is, as I had mentioned, raising that amusement tax from $750 to $1,000. As I had mentioned, we had a retirement and an honorable discharge for both our sergeants in 2025. So we budgeted only 6 months for a sergeant replacement position. Now, whether or not that actually occurs or not will be a decision that will need to be made both by the chief and mayor, but it is budgeted for 6 months next year. There was some talk at a previous meeting about increasing the police from 4 to 5, the patrol officers. And then there's also been some discussion about increasing the police pay rate from their current rate of $28.35, which goes through 8/31 of 26, and or increasing it to $31. There was talk about having an incentive to try to keep officers from moving on to other locations that may be paying more in the $30 range or something like that. So what we did is that we broke out some of the impacts of what that looks like. So patrolmen's, right now, we have what's called a blended rate because of the fact that the police contract, it actually changes halfway through the year. So a little bit longer than halfway through the year. So that we will be paying our patrolmen $28.35 through about August. And then beginning in September 1st, we pay them $29.77 according to their labor contract. So if we increase that dollar amount in our current count of 4 officers, that equates to around $18,500, or it represents a 0.2 mil increase for the borough. If we increase that count of 5 officers at the rate of $31, this adds a total of 83,000, or the equivalent of 0.9 mils to that number, which is a pretty big jump to take it from 4 to 5 officers and jumping at that $31 rate. So it is something to think about if we are going to be paying our officers more, and if we increase that number to 5. So that's going to need to be a decision that council is going to need to determine if we do want to increase this rate, and if we do want to increase the officer count, that there is a significant increase. This budget right now that is in front of you represents no tax increase right now, but it also doesn't represent any of these changes as well. So that's why we're talking about what we are here. So increasing the count then from 4 officers to 5 officers, our current budget is $239,344 for the 4 officer count, operating under the $28.35 and the $29.77 per hour mark. That's our total that we pay in wages there. If we add a 5th officer, that equates to around $60,000, and 60,000 again represents a 0.64 mil increase if we take it from 4 to 5 officers, just at the current count. So that would be at the current wage rate, would be the 0.64 mil increase. If we took it to the $31, it would be nearly a mil or 0.9 mils to consider. So, those are, in my opinion, those are some of the bigger, policy decisions that, this council is going to need to consider. Providing back some direction on how you'd like to proceed. Again, increasing wages, increasing body count, and paying. So
If we were to go to 0.9, let's say 1 mil, what is that per household?
So, per household,
Yeah,
Depends on how much your house is valued.
yeah, that's true, yeah.
But
I guess the question is, how much does a mill generate for us?
so a mill generates $93,480.
93,000.
So and that's why I provided this, so you can kind of get an idea, like if we increase this by 0.9 mils,
How much is it?
this is how much this is going to generate for, with that dollar amount. Like I said, it's $93,000, about $93,000.
And how much it would cost each homeowner, Dave, is how much your house is valued.
Yeah,
Will we have enough way through 2026 to beef up the?
The current budget, no. I mean, the current budget has, it's the exact number that I plugged in there is their blended rate, which is the $28.35 and the $29.77 that takes effect September 1st.
Well, yeah, I guess that's what I mean, like,
Are we allowed to talk?
we would be able to give. Discuss this next year. September, October.
oh,
I think the issue is that if you make any type of increase right now without increasing your revenue,
Yes.
you will end up with a shortfall in the budget. So I think that, where there's rearranging of the budget that you have to do, again, not hire the sergeant, right? That's certainly an option, you know, that's in there. And you could use that salary range then to push into the patrolman wages to work increases that way.
The way we've been going is also, you can't even guarantee you're gonna be able to hire a fifth one.
Right.
You know, with the way things have gone.
And you know, like the manager said, we want to retain officers. We got to start being competitive with other communities at $30 plus an hour. And I've always said, I don't want my taxes raised, but we need to raise the taxes. Duquesne Light, I don't know if you've seen, in 10.6%. Everything keeps going up and we can't keep our officers down here. And I get it, I understand.
We also can't go from down here to the moon in 1 year. And that's what you guys are trying to do.
And
That's all I'm
you
gonna say
bring up
about
a
this
very
matter
good
right
point.
there.
You bring up a very good point. There's a lot of people in this town that are strapped for cash. And Duquesne Light keeps raising, Oakmont Water keeps raising, the garbage keeps raising. This is gonna gentrify this town.
We need a police department
This is gonna
too.
gentrify this town.
We need a
Generation, I've said this before, generations of the people that have lived here for 3, 4, 5 generations, we're gonna have to move out because we're not gonna be able to afford to live here. That's what's gonna happen.
This is one of the cheaper towns too.
Yep.
You don't want to get out of control.
So,
It is.
Just to back up for everyone's knowledge, who may be less familiar, 1 mil
What
is
did you just say?
to,
What did you just say?
1 mil is equivalent.
Easy, so,
You guys allow that talk. Stephen did, that's what he said.
You're not allowed to interrupt the meeting.
Well, he did.
1 mil equals $1 of tax for every $1,000 of assessed property value. So for a $100,000 house, that would equal $100 for that household for the year increase.
Yeah,
So
approximately.
I looked at the public to comment during the public comment period on this particular issue. Right now, as it stands, I would lean towards increasing the pay for our current force of hopefully 4 full-time officers. But I obviously support growing our force. But again, I welcome the public to comment on that when we get to that.
public comment.
I would, I wanna see if we could. Unfortunately, the chief's not here tonight, but how we would make it work. If we were to increase the pay with the just 4 officers. If we were to make it work with the schedule, just keeping the 4 officer force.
Given the
We're
goal of
supposed to-
having 2 officers per shift, and perhaps the mayor can comment further, I would anticipate he would support that.
Well, also, if we do get 4 to 5 officers, we will go to 12-hour shifts. That'll save considerably amount of overtime. Because they'll get every other week.
You're still talking about going to 12 hours, I'd like to do 12 hours,
Yeah,
even with the 4th.
right.
And you're right, that'll save overtime.
I also think he's trying to, even if we can't have 2 officers for every single shift for 24 hours a day, that there would be some blending, like. Even if before we did 12 hours, for instance, it's 7 to 3, 3 to 11, and then maybe you have someone from 11 AM to whatever 8 hours is for that, and then there would be. In the meat of the day, there would be 2 people, and then as things die down, something like that. I mean, you could blend it with 12-hour shifts as well. But my understanding, without knowing all the detail of how this would work, is it would be very difficult to do all that with only 4 officers in addition to the chief. We have been decreasing our overtime. If you look at the figures, our percentage of overtime, while it's over 100, is less over 100 in the last couple of months. Because our chief has been working 60 to 80 hours a week to reduce overtime. He cannot continue to do that, and I don't think it's fair of us to continue to ask him to do that. He's just chronically tired, and at some point, someone who does that, I don't care how young you are, you end up getting sick.
So we could be, even if we kept it at 4 and we did the increase in the pay. We could still wind up being in a situation, we're gonna blow up the police budget just with the overtime. Right?
That's a fair point.
Well, there's that, and there's also, keep in mind, someone of those 4 people are injured, they get sick, they go on vacation, then we're back to where we are right now. And
There's a lot of things we could have been doing too ahead of time. We should have probably every year or two raised a $250,000 or something, and would have a nice little kicker for stuff like this.
well,
You
we
know.
did raise taxes last year, a whole mill.
I understand that, but before that, it was like
Oh,
13 or
yes,
14
yes,
years,
yes.
whatever, and we lowered them one time and then.
Right. Well, that was the anti-windfall
Well,
statute, yeah,
Whatever, I'm just saying,
you're right.
we should have been a little more proactive
Right.
and raised them a $500,000, and you'd have a nice little kicker at the end, and you could say, okay, yeah, we can afford to do this. Or we could afford to buy 2 cars and not have to take a lease out on them. But everything seemed to hit at one time, and here's where we are, you know?
Right.
I mean, I'm not blaming anybody, I'm just saying that's how it felt.
How many part-time officers does this allow for?
This allows for 4.
So,
Part-time,
yes, and that will answer your question. When people get sick and the holes in the schedule being filled, that is exactly what 4 part-time officers.
Well, I think we only have one though at this point, right,
they
Liz?
do.
But I mean, if we have 4
Right,
full-time,
yeah, right.
4 part-time, we have 8 officers on.
Mhm.
And 4 of them, yes, 4 of them are full-time, but 4 of them are working part-time and they're there to fill the gaps when full-time officers call off sick. That's why you have.
The one thing with the part-time officers are though, they're not like substitute teachers where they're sitting at home waiting to get a call.
There's no
They have another job.
That's why you have 4.
And so they can't necessarily come in, and they don't have to come in. They can say, oh, I'm, spending a day with my kids, or, I'm gonna go to the park or the zoo or whatever. They have plans in their life. And I don't think that having part-time is the answer just because you can't depend on them.
I'm not saying it's the answer, I'm saying it's. We have part-time officers for a reason. Are you saying you should get rid of all part-time officers?
No, I'm just saying that I don't think
That's not
that,
sustainable.
I just don't think that we should depend on part-time to fill in for when a full-time officer has an issue or goes on vacation or medical problem or whatever.
That's
Even
literally
with
what
our,
they're for.
even with our part-times, even with our part-timers this year that we've had, I mean, we've had times that we've had state police come. I mean, it's just a fact of life that they've called off or,
Sure,
There's no guarantee we're gonna-
I don't state police either, because
They're not very good.
and it's, and I don't wanna be in that situation where we had February of 24. Where we had one guy in here, we had
There we go.
everybody in here.
Front page news.
We don't ever wanna be in that situation ever again. I don't wanna be in that situation ever again.
I don't wanna put our town in a police situation.
Absolutely.
We're in that situation right now. Look at the numbers now compared to last year, same numbers. Same amount of officers on duty, same amount of officers employed in this town. The thing is nobody's calling the news rate. That's the only difference.
Well, we haven't had a critical incident either.
And to somebody said earlier, we asked Tom to put all them hours in. No, we didn't ask Tom. He volunteered to do it. That's very awesome of him.
Yeah,
That's saving the borough a crap ton of money.
right.
So if we can get these 2 gentlemen, these 2 police officers that are graduating tonight, within a week, I think they'll have all their numbers and all their papers and everything. We'll have at least 5 officers out there, including the chief.
Well, I don't think that those young guys are gonna be fully trained until March.
I think they're already being trained now.
They're being trained now, right?
Right, but they're brand new. I mean, they don't even know how to write.
But this is my point, Nancy. I'm just saying, we'll have 5 officers ready to go, and then they gotta learn as they go, like anything else.
Eventually, yes, I agree, just not in January. I don't get the sense that these young guys.
He's gotta ride around with them.
Before, are gonna be ready to be on their own until
Yeah.
several months after that.
Well, the question before you all is, are there wage increases that this council is interested in pursuing for the 26 budget beyond what the collective bargaining agreement has, and the officer? Because the budget that I'm prepared for you right now only represents the existing. So what you're obligated to for the, it's within the collective bargaining agreement now. So we just need to have some consensus as to how.
Well, do we want to split up the discussion and just concentrate on wages or how many first?
Yes and yes.
What?
Yes to increasing wages, yes to increasing the fine.
Well, I was just saying in terms of us being able to narrow the focus of our conversation, if there needs to be more conversation.
Oh, I think Jason was asking for a pulse.
Yeah.
So
I'm not in favor of raising the budget or the millage.
at all.
But I'm in favor of looking to see if we can find a way to cut some of the numbers in here anywhere. To maybe give them a raise, because you figure it's $1 an hour, that's worth $2,000 a year for one guy. So that's like, $16,000 or roughly, or,
You need to take up to 31.
yeah.
So to take the four existing up to 31 is this number here, this 18,576. So that's the number that would take them to 31 beginning January 1st.
Well, that's not. They're not getting a pay raise until what is it, July?
No,
Pardon me? September. So this number isn't gonna happen right away. Because you gotta figure by the time we get it together. And we get it to their union, to them, and they take it to their union, and then they kind of come back to us. That's not gonna happen by January 1. Let's be real.
We could do an MOU for just the.
You gotta get their union. This is a union involved thing. We can say we're gonna do it, but they remember last time we did it, we had to get the union involved before we did all that. We didn't just raise their rate. We had to get the union involved. And that's just being a union, man, that takes time. I'm not saying not to do it, but it's not gonna happen by January 1.
And that's fine. I
Right.
think it's, do we want to suggest it as of January 1st with what is within our control?
I'm all in favor of giving them a raise. I'm just telling you how I feel, but I'm not in favor of raising taxes. I don't feel that that's fair to the new council coming in, my last vote is to raise the taxes, because then you know what you'll hear.
Well, the other thing we could maybe look at is, it doesn't have to be $31 an hour. It could be $30 an hour, or $30.25, or $30.50. We could compromise there. I think when a policeman looking for a job in the current climate sees a 28, 29, that seems low. As soon as you put a 3 in front, and it's a 30 or a 30.50, 30.50 would save us, I think, what, 4,000 total? Something like that.
I'm not taking a chance of stabbing at this one, because
Yeah.
you guys aren't taking into account that it's a blended rate, right? You have to work out the months and all that, so.
Right.
But I understand what you're saying, though, if
Yeah.
you wanna start with a third, if you just wanna lower it, dollar,
Yeah,
it's $2,080 per officer if you do it effective January 1st, right? So.
right.
What are you guys talking?
So that's one option to consider. But in terms of pulse, I would like to see us increase the rate within our control as of January, and then the rest will work it out. And I would like to see us try to find a 5th officer, which we would probably do more easily if we raise the rate. But I do think we need more money in order to do that. I don't see how we can do it, otherwise we dip into our minimum fund balance, and that's reasonable right now, right on, pretty much on target, but we would, that's not how you're supposed to, do it in government. You're supposed to have 3 months of operating expenses available. So that's where I am with that. I'm just not sure overall what you would recommend, Jason, for us to cover the biggest thing here. How much of a millage increase do you think it would take overall?
Well, it's a policy decision that you guys have to determine if you want to increase salaries first. And if you want that fifth officer. I've given you a budget that does not have an increase, but it also doesn't address any of your issues that you have right now. So, until you all decide, how you want to proceed with this, if you want to do the increase or not, it's really in your court right now, because all I can work with is what is approved right now in the collective bargaining agreement right now is saying that what you have before you in the budget that I presented to you is what that is right now. So if you're gonna change that, you're the ones who have to tell me back how you wanna.
So this number here, the third bullet. Basically, if we do both, it's 0.9 mil,
It
is
is
what you're saying.
at the highest rate with a fifth officer, it's nearly a mil. Yeah.
And that would be basically to keep it so that we are at approximately 135,000 over at the end of the year, which is okay. It's not great, but it's doable because we do have other money. We have cash in the bank as well.
Not a lot of cash, but you have cash to get you through the first part of the year.
Right. Could I also just point out, when you were talking about revenue, on line 301.4000, you have budgeted for income to be 65,000. And when you look at how much we've made through the end of October, we've already made 71,000 on delinquent taxes. Maybe we could boost that a little bit to give us a little more.
Well, the counter to that though is that you would expect that if you've been aggressive in 1 year collecting delinquent taxes, that your delinquencies would be going down. So I wouldn't feel comfortable increasing that
Okay.
particular number for that reason.
It's just a question. Thank you for clarifying.
Oh, maybe we do wanna go back and visit it issue by issue, so. The second bullet point at raising to $31 for a current force of 4 officers is only a 0.2 mil increase. So to recap, that would be an increase of $20 annually if your house is valued at $100,000, which is $1.67 per month. The question is, do we think the average Veronian is willing to pay $1.67 per month in order to retain a better police force at a higher, more competitive rate?
$1.67.
It's very approximate, but yeah.
I think you guys can trust him.
It's 20 divided by 12. Thank you. So maybe they'd be willing to do a little more than that. We could say $30.50, but still add the officer and do a 0.5 mil.
Let's focus on this issue. I feel that 0.2, in order to get this competitive rate of 30 something, is reasonable. Can we go around and say whether or not we agree on that?
Jason, what would it be if we would a raise of $2? Okay. Approximately how much?
$2. Well, 0.2 is gonna be 20, right? So you're saying what would $2 be?
Yes.
It's probably nearly 2.5. 0.25. That's 0.25.
Much we have you don't.
So at 25%, you mean how much it will generate if we increase that? Um. Probably around 20 or 23,000 addition.
That's not that. We may not here to raise taxes, we need it to. And we need protection, we need Congress on protection. I've listened to all this and it's like, what's $2? It's a waste of $2.
Sylvia, can you speak a little louder?
Yeah, I can't hear you.
We can't.
I was talking about what would it be to raise it $2 per family?
Right,
And I just wanted to know what that equated to.
right.
Because the protection is important.
$2 per month.
Yeah.
Which would be $24 per year, which would be very roughly, but not exact, because it's not, we're not generating $100,000, we're only generating $93,000 per mail. But $2 would be 0.24 or 0.25 now.
But it's not as costly to go. I mean, nobody wants to raise taxes. I don't want to either. But if we have to, it's our job to protect the people here. Without police, you're not going to protect them.
So you're saying you're in favor of increasing the wages?
Yeah, even just a little bit. I don't mean $2, but a little bit to help so that we can take care of not only our people, but our police.
Yeah, I mean, I guess police is the most urgent matter right now.
Right.
Vince, am I correct? You're not in favor, right?
I'm completely in favor with increasing the pay of our officers. But I have said since January 1st of this year that if it comes down to raising taxes at the end of the year, I will vote no. I stand on my word. If there's a tax increase this year, I will vote. I don't think it's fair to the people of this town. It's raised taxes too much in the last week, so.
And then this one, Robinson.
I'm against it. I already gave you guys. It's in the collective bargaining agreement. They're about to make $30 at the end of this year. You guys are trying to sell the town better. It's not all about money. And I'm not about raising taxes. We already gave them more raises this year than they've ever gotten in the history of Verona. I'm not gonna give them another $2.70. I don't think. You know, someone wants to give me a $10 raise this year, then let me know. So, no, I'm against it.
We have a lot of neighboring communities, including Springdale Borough that just got a data center, getting a data center.
Yeah.
That place is going to explode now. They're going to probably get a lot of investment going in there. They're probably gonna be competing with us. I'm worried about them poaching our officers. You know, it's gonna be a nuclear arms race with these salaries. We've been seeing it. We had an applicant earlier this year, if you recall. We lost, and it was about
From
money
the Trona Heights.
Yeah, he left
Trona Heights.
because of money. Okay? You know, it is about the money, you know, and we've been, before I even got here, you know what the rate was what was our rate for full-time officers? A couple of, yeah. We weren't competitive. You know, we're seeing it, and there's a struggle for even getting police officers across the country, and that's why the rates are going up. Because nobody's going into that profession. You know, and that's why there's a struggle to even get people, construction workers, EMS workers, police officers right now. That's why these labor rates are going. And we need to stay competitive. Or else we're gonna lose our police. I'm just telling it like it is. But I'm for the pay rate. I'm just torn on whether we should increase it from 4 to 5. I don't know yet. I think, I wish the chief was here. He's at the academy tonight. Mayor, what do you think? I mean, you think we should go to 5? I mean, I don't know. I mean, look, good. The overlap is good. I know there's certain times of the year, especially this time of year, the holidays. I'm worried about, our business district, Giant Eagle, F. Things going up on the hill, there's speeders going up on down, Center Avenue. Ridge Avenue, we need cops present. People need to be seen. We don't want the town to go to hell. I'm sorry for saying it. But so we need to make tough choices. And it comes down to, whether we want to invest in the force or kind of keep it the way it is and hope for the best. I don't know.
Jason,
It's a tough call.
you have in here a hiring bonus incentive of 18,345 under 410, line item 410. Do we have a bonus? Do we have a hiring incentive
So,
in place or anything? We don't have
Not
anything.
yet, putting it in,
We're looking to do that.
so they're gonna get over it, like, that's a risk, there.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Can that be part of this all?
And that's in the budget, correct?
it is.
Well, that's an outgoing one though. That's an expenditure.
Yeah, but that's in the current budget with no tax.
It's in there now. Doesn't say it here.
The signing bonus.
It doesn't say it under the 25 budget.
Right.
It doesn't
I don't
say it.
think we have it.
We didn't have this 25, we
No.
just created this line item.
It's in the 26
The
budget.
finance meeting, when we took the sergeant salary from 2 sergeants down to half a sergeant, we put the money in for a signing bonus.
So
18,000.
that'll help your same officer also.
Not 18,000.
Would that have to be put in an MOU or in the contract, and they'd have to
Yeah,
do all that, so this isn't a given either. There's a extra,
And there was a discussion about trying to, in the finance committee, we talked about ways to recruit and retain officers. And, currently, there's no way to do that right with, now, we're talking about increasing wages, and if that's the sole way that is being proposed to do that, and you want to shift that money, that's certainly an option to do that. But there was also, a discussion about, having some type of a retaining dollar amount. So officers stay for so long, they are paid a certain dollar amount, what sometimes be considered a longevity thing, but it's also considered a bonus that in some communities you see it advertised, $500 signing bonus, $1,000 signing bonus, $500 after 1 year. And that's what the purpose of that is.
so how complicated would it be to implement that?
I don't think any of that is that difficult to put a policy together, to do that.
It wouldn't have to be something that was in the contract?
It would need to be discussed with the bargaining unit, but putting together a policy on retaining and recruiting is not difficult.
usually a signing bonus before the union contract. You'll get the signing bonus and you'll sign a paper saying that you will receive this signing bonus after 4 years of employment or paid out per year. You get the final payment on your 4th year of employment. That's all signed before you are even hired in any union. So it's complete, I believe it's completely separate.
We wouldn't want someone to get a signing bonus on the first day, because then they'll.
No, they would get it, they would
Then they'll
get it
leave.
after the first year, after the probation period.
Yeah,
Their first year, they get 1,000, like I say, they got a $4,000 signing bonus.
Yeah.
So they get $1,000 a year for 4 years.
Okay.
And after that 4th year, they can leave. Or
So
they can leave before
for
that.
the purpose of progressing the conversation with the specific questions Jason asked us. Sounds like we have majority council support for increasing wages, unclear to 31, but at least to 30. We don't currently have support for 5, but again, welcome comment feedback towards the end.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you, Jason.
I said that, I think that's what I'm hearing. How I'll adjust the final budget will be to reflect an increase up to 30 with a millage increase of around 0.2 to 0.25 mils for consideration.
Great, thank you.
Would there be room in there for part-time officers?
There is. Yeah, we budgeted for part-time officers already in this budget already.
Are there alternate ways of raising revenue to pay for this? Like, increasing gaming tax, increasing street sweeping, parking tickets. Also, I've been trying to work with the solicitor. He's been kind of burning the candle at both ends, but we're working on, actually, we have 2 policies for vacant lots and they need to be combined. And we've had these policies for 20 years and we haven't collected a dime, even though it says in the policies that if you have a vacant property that sits vacant for, I think, more than 3 years, you have to pay $1,000 the first year after that, $2,000 the year after that. That if we actually start enforcing that, could be used to bolster our wages, correct?
Yeah, I think that all of those, I mean, those, the ones that are on the books already, you know, I think we're looking at rental registrations, rental inspections next year. I think the vacant property could be rolled into that. They're already in the books. You know, the challenge is implementing those. You know, it would require, I think, a significant expense. Now, you know, mind you, I think this is something that can help pay for itself and generate revenue, but it's going to require a body to do that. There's going to need to be someone dedicated to that, especially if we're going to get that off the ground. You know, my initial projection based on the amount of rentals that there were was, you know, somewhere to the tune of 50 to 60,000. But they could be generated in new revenue from that. But I think that needs to be really dug into, and I don't think we have the time to do that in order to adopt this budget going into that. But I think that is 100%. You already have those laws in the books; they just need to be, you know, enforced, and you've got to have a body that's going to be here. And with the amount of vacant property, the amount of rentals that are here, that is a 3/4 to a full-time person's job.
And we just this past year, at the beginning of the year, we increased parking tickets like 100%. It went from like $5 to $10. So, and then after we increased it, we had feedback from our chief that said we should increase it more. But it's not high enough. So, I mean, these are alternate avenues of revenue instead of hitting people with the town tax. That's what I think they need.
Here's one of my questions. Like you said, we're got 4 part-time. We only have 1. What am we only need 2. We don't have any. We have 1. We don't need 4 on the books and 4 full-time. You can take it down to 2 and use that money to.
I think that, you know, you'll see this in the budget to actual report. That I'll email out there because I realize it's in the packets. But one of the things that you'll see is that in the actual budget spend this year is that because of the fact that there weren't a lot of part-time officers on the books, the full-time overtime is high.
Yeah.
If you have a lot of part-timers on the books, you'll have part-time overtime, but because they're not making, you know, the same rate as a, you know, $52 an hour, they're only making $25 an hour. You know, you're saving half of that overtime rate in part-time wages. So the hours still get filled, but with a part-time body. So the part-timers only get paid when they work. They're not required to work 40 hours a week. So they're just filling in those overtime gaps that, you know, that you can drive down. It's just, they're unreliable, it's
Yeah,
unpredictable.
but there's a specific money amount
Right,
per officer, it doesn't make a difference how many hours, they can only work
That's right.
1 day a week, we're gonna still put them to work 30 hours a week.
Yeah.
In the budget, that's what I'm saying, if we only have one, then we can always cut 2 of those. To not raise taxes and put that money in for the raises.
where the savings always is gonna be in the full-time officer.
Well, yeah, I understand,
I think-
I'm just saying, it's just
Yeah.
one way to not have to hit the town with a mill.
What are you up to now?
Anything,
Well,
no mills, that's what we wanna have, no mill.
the other thing we could think of too is, I mean, I'd like to see us have five, officers. Eventually, we could budget that fifth officer, thinking that maybe they're not gonna start till later into the year. So it wouldn't have to be a full 12 months worth of money for that fifth officer. You know, but then sort of, we get it down now. One you had 0.2, the other you had 0.9. We could, you know, raise it somewhere in the middle of those two. The difference is 0.7, that'd be 0.35. So that would be 0.55, would be right in the middle of 0.2 and 0.9. Yeah, that's right.
Do we collect much in that, the non-resident earned income tax?
Do you collect much in?
Non-resident,
That
like workers that are non-residents that work here in Verona that are,
So that's the LST. I don't know what the exact dollar amount is, but it's not a lot of revenue.
Is that on here somewhere?
It is, what's it called? It's called local services tax, 310,530. So you bring in about $12,000 a year.
What, it says 55,000. Am I looking at the right line?
310, 510.
Local services tax?
We brought in 55,000 last
Yeah,
year.
54,000. I was looking at it per month, sorry.
So. I don't know whether that's supposed to be more or not.
It's capped. It's capped as to how much you can charge on that by the state.
oh, really?
Okay.
I think we get 47 of that, and the school gets 5 of that or something like that. We don't get the full $52 charged for it.
You're increasing your care in the budget, right?
But I mean, it's kind of what a worker can pay. You can't increase that dollar amount,
Per worker,
right?
but if we get
If you get more.
or whatever, then that are from out of town, then you get,
That is what's happening with that one.
I see.
So we're just gonna have to trend that.
I know this is a coulda, shoulda, woulda, but had we raised taxes way back when, even a 0.5% every year, we wouldn't be in this predicament today.
That's what I just said.
Ray said, yeah.
This should have been done to it now. But you know what, we have to start somewhere.
Amen.
A lot of communities are raising taxes, their millage rate because of this same problem. And because of stagnation in past years, Oakmont is one of them. Year after year after year after year, they didn't raise taxes, you know, all of a sudden they're finding themselves in quite a predicament.
But it comes back to haunt you. No question about it.
homes, we don't.
Right, so their overall millage is way lower than ours because their per property value is much higher. Yeah. And they have more of them,
They're double our.
Making decision.
more.
Positive stuff.
And they also have to provide more services. Larger
Right.
governments.
So the general direction that I've gotten is 0.25. Is what I will be adjusting this to, and only taking into account the wage increase for 4 officers.
Yeah, I'm not happy with that. Well, we should allow public comment maybe just on this item too, but, I'd be willing to make it $30.50, just so we can have a 3 instead of 31. But I'd like to see us consider having that 5th officer at least partway into the year, which will decrease how much that would be at the new rate, and then look at maybe a $500,000. I just don't think, I don't, for the sake of $2 a month versus $4 a month. I'm not sure that is worth putting our police department right on the line of, can we keep them, can we not keep them? Will they be worn out, all of them, all of the time because they're working so much? That kind of thing. I just, $500,000, $100,000 house is about $48 a year. Divided by 12 is $4 a month. A pack of cigarettes costs $10.
And I've always said this in the past, years ago, before all this council was here. We need to educate the public on, right away they say, oh, a tax increase, big dollars. But $2, $3 a month, $4 a month, is it really going to break you? Especially when everything else is going up, like I said. I gave the example of, I think I said Monday starting, Duquesne Light 10.6% increase. And my whole entire house is LED. I thought it was supposed to come down, when you use LEDs, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it hasn't come down, they keep raising it.
Well, and we have, to your point, Mayor, we have to remember that the borough has to pay more for our
It's
electricity.
even more, it's like a
And the borough
business,
has
yeah,
to pay more for gas.
yeah.
And we also, do we want to consider, are we gonna give the part-timers a bit of a raise so that we can be competitive in that area as well? So if we just do 0.25, we're right on the edge and we have no cushion for other things that might come along. So I don't know, $4 a month. Roughly, is probably something most people can afford.
Right, and to reiterate, the request to increase from 30 for 5 officers was actually only 0.9 of a mil. So for $100,000 house, that is $7.50 per month.
Right. Yeah, so. We want to allow, did we go through everyone, did everyone say clearly what?
Yeah.
I don't remember what Sylvia said. What you're for.
She's in favor of an increase.
Okay. I'm just wondering whether, even though we're not at the part of the agenda where we allow public comment, whether or not we want to ask the public.
Yeah.
Just to comment, just on this topic,
Yes.
right now. Are people okay with that?
We go against this, Chase?
If you'd like to, it's up to you. It's just going to be.
We'll talk about it, we'll allow public comment just on this subject.
You want us to come to the podium again?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Same as usual. State your name and address.
Judy Williams, 534 Ridge Avenue. I'm in favor of like 0.5% or whatever to go up. But we don't know what our school taxes are gonna go up. We don't know what our county taxes are gonna go up. And we're talking about $4 a month. We have a Section 8 housing below the railroad tracks that probably don't pay anything. But the landlords have, if we're going to increase, we're already going to increase them to move out, move in new tenants. To those places. So that's a hit to them. And now you're going to want to increase the property mill to them. that just seemed like a double hit to those people, and I'm not, I mean. It's okay to do that, but. In some respects, it's not okay to do that, because that's like double dipping on somebody. Who, I mean, yeah, that's their livelihood and everything, my livelihood pretty soon is gonna be retirement. I mean, you're talking about people moving on, you're gonna have all the old folks moving on. And I live in a, not a fancy house, but I have a lot of property and I pay a lot of property, and I know that there's people that probably need to pay up. I have a house on the street, back the street that probably 10 years of county, local, everything that is owed on it, and they just up out and left it. And now it's just turning into a piece of junk. I don't know, it just irritates me that I understand and I know everybody says we should have done this every year. Oh, hindsight's 50-50.
Right. Thanks, Judy.
Mary Sheridan, 647 Third Avenue. As everybody has stated, I don't want a tax increase, however, I do want a police force.
Mhm.
So if you want a police force, if you want your borough to be safe, I think it's great when I see the officers out and about. It was nice to see them there for the parade, that was great. I like to see them up there by Cribbsfield, you know, being visible. If we don't, I've interviewed them, as you know, on civil service. Like somebody stated earlier, we lost one guy, he was all gung ho till bad news was put upon him, what the pay was, he said, forget it, I don't want any part of it. We have to be competitive, if we're not competitive, then we don't have a police force. So we can save all the money we want and, you know, not raise the millage, but then we don't have a police force. Something tells me that council doesn't really want that to happen. That's what I'm hearing, we don't want that to happen, so I think I don't, personally, I don't think there's another choice.
Thank you, Mary.
Okay.
James Rodriguez, you hear that, Mr. Hall?
I heard.
Good. You're gonna hear a lot more. I'm for the raise. We need a police force, and so we have to do this, so we have to.
Thanks, Jim.
Rover Ward, 636 Third Avenue. You guys talked for over an hour, back and forth. Number one, you've got to raise taxes. And you're playing games like 0.25, 0.20. Raise it, we have to have a police force. We want to have, like, we have to pay Teresa, we have to pay a manager. We have to pay our streets crew, we have benefits. And you know, you guys, nobody complains when the schools raise taxes, you pay them. And no one's moving out because they can't afford them. So I don't know why you guys just don't say at least a mil, get it over with, balance your budget, because next year it's gonna be worse. You can't do it this year, you're not gonna do it next year. And like I said, you have to make a decision. Okay, thanks for listening.
Thanks, Rhoda.
Good job.
Anybody else on this subject?
Well, just my 2 cents.
Yeah.
I'm not in 636 Third Avenue. It's just like I said in the last meeting, it's gonna fall down the road. This is, sooner or later, it's gonna impact our borough. You're doing a disservice by postponing raising taxes. If you raise them, a mill,
At least.
a half a million next time, and a quarter mil the third time, then we're starting to make sense. We're starting to get ahead of things. But as it goes right now, we keep falling further behind. You said before, we said tonight that you're competing with other boroughs. It's not gonna get any easier. It's not gonna get smoother by cutting this and cutting that. I mean, you just can't keep cutting things. Gotta get to the real world. People can afford $4 a month, $5 a month, even $10 a month. Think about that. That is a pack of cigarettes. That's maybe two draft beers.
Lottery.
You know, if we can't afford to cut back on those things, then we're slicing our throats. To be honest with you, we're putting ourselves in jeopardy. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Anybody else? Okay, thank you. You done with your presentation? Okay.
But we need to decide what we're gonna do. We- We're gonna supposedly vote on a budget in 2 weeks,
Right,
We have to vote to advertise it tonight,
right?
or you can't vote on it 2 weeks, that's the advertised.
Well, right, but the question is, what budget are we gonna advertise?
Okay, so we already were in agreement on increasing the wage. After the public comments, besides Nancy and I, who else is in favor of increasing to 5 officers?
I took the temperature of the room. It seems like people wanna go to 5,
Okay.
you know, so
It's 3.
looks like I'm with them. Man, look. I hate raising taxes. My family has these buildings too, right? I mean, we pay every year. School taxes, county taxes, everything's going up. The garbage fees, the water, the sewage, it drives us absolutely crazy. They hate it, but I mean, what's the alternative? Do we really want, the community to go to crap? I mean, I'm really, I see a lot of stuff happening around town in other areas. And what concerns me is that I don't want, an uptick in crime here. And I'm just worried that we're on that brink. And I don't want that happening here. I think we're in an area right now where we can either just go fix everything and be on the upswing or head downhill. And I think we can really fix things and really turn Verona into a really wonderful place. And I don't think we're gonna gentrify the neighborhood. I really don't. I mean, yeah, taxes are gonna go up, but we could also bring more business in. It'll make the neighborhood a lot safer. It'll attract people, want people to come in and move here. They'll feel it's a lot safer. The wonderful place to raise your family, businesses wanna come in here. I don't know. I mean, I 5. Yes, yeah. I think we're gonna have to. I mean, I don't know, having one guy per shift, I don't think it does us any good. It's not beneficial for us. I mean, especially in like these evening hours when we could have shoplifters down in Giant Eagle. And then we have something going on up at the hill at the same time, speeders. I don't know. I mean, I just see the way things are going and I feel more secure. If we have to pay a little bit more money, so be it.
Okay, so.
I mean,
Okay, let's move on.
I am, I'm sorry. I don't wanna sacrifice our security for a buck.
Okay, good.
That's just me. I'm sorry. That's the way I feel.
Tim, you have.
I'm okay with going for the 5, I just wish we could find the money somewhere in there.
Well, okay, we're raising taxes. Everybody keeps saying $7 a month here, $10 a month there, but add it up. You got $7 increase a month from us. You get $10 a month increase from the school. You got a $5 a month increase from the garbage, and you got a 15% increase on sewage and water. That adds up to $100 and some a month. That's we're nickel and diming everybody. It's there's other ways to find the money. There's other places to find the money. Please stop interrupting me. If you wanted to speak up here,
Yeah,
you could have not resigned.
okay, thanks, Ben.
I'm just, please stop interrupting because it's distracting me and you're out of order.
Okay.
That's all I mean, you can go however you want and I'm not gonna be offended by it, but if it involves tax increase,
And yeah,
I am not one for tax increase. I have a fairly new house. It's not brand new, but I pay a lot of taxes. But you know what? I have never complained. I make a way sometime where there is no way. I don't owe anybody anything. And I don't think that, this is asking for the moon. $4. I mean, just like was said, school taxes were raised. I didn't hear anybody screaming and yelling. They paid them. I paid them. It's inevitable. Everything
Exactly.
is going up.
Yeah.
And we have no control over it. That's just the way it is.
So,
Hopefully something will level off. Hopefully. We don't know. We don't have a crystal ball.
Sylvia, so are you in favor of adding another officer to 5
I
officers?
am. Yeah, I am.
Can you say something?
Hmm?
I just wanted to add something.
Yep.
I just was very taken, Mary, by what you said, because to me, what it boils down to is whether or not we have a police department here in Verona. I mean, there are other things that we need to consider when we're raising taxes or not raising taxes in terms of borough manager, part-time officers, administrative assistant, all of our bills going up, everything else. But the biggest thing, the biggest part of any budget of any town is the police department. I spoke to a guy in Erie and the percentage for the police department in their town was 85%. Ours is not nearly that high. But a lot of towns are struggling with this. So in my mind, I am asking myself the question, without nickel and diming ourselves, like Rhoda said, like trying to squeak out a couple $1,000 here and there. I think it's time that we need to consider, do we want to have a police department in Verona or not? And that is, to me, the bottom line, so. I just wanted to say that because I was struck by how clear Mary was in her statement.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jason, you have your answer.
thank you.
So what are we raising the millage?
okay.
Next up, committee discussions, Parks and Property, Mr. Floda.
As you can see, I have a park fence termination on here for an action item. I can open it up for discussion now, or do you want me to wait until we pay the vote?
Go ahead, Tim. Or Vince, I'm sorry.
Parks and Rec was approached by a lady by the name of Renee Gable. Her and her church group, I believe, plays pickleball at Blue Bank Park. They had a good friend of theirs pass away named Donna Mano. She lives in Penn Hills, but she has a Verona zip code, which is like right on the border. Her and her church group would like to donate a bench to Blue Bank Park in memory of her. I invited her to the last month's Parks and Rec meeting. She presented and we discussed everything with the Parks and Rec board. They're in favor of it. I told them I would send to council for discussion and approval. If approved, it will be uniform with all the other benches in the parks. The most recent one is the donation from the Verona Garden Club to Cribs Field in memory of Peter Ewing. That I believe was installed last fall, maybe beginning of the year. It will be exactly the same bench. It might be a little longer, a little shorter, depending on offered to give her 3 size options as a board, put a 6-foot, 8-foot bench. Whatever they were willing to donate to prices. I did tell her that we would reserve ultimate right of where the specific location the bench went, because we have a park planning grant going on, and it might have thrown into that. She's fine with that, or we would keep her in the loop as far as plans and destination where it's gonna go. I told her if approved, next steps would be for me to send her a link to where we purchased the benches from. So she could look at the three options. Jason suggested that the borough could actually pay for the bench and then they could reimburse the borough for the borough taxes. So be a donation for the borough bench. Reimburse the borough for the price of the bench. Once the bench is purchased, it will be delivered to DPW. Jason Alberti, who's on Parks and Rec board, will be the person in charge of getting the plaque made so it matches and say they want on it.
Matches like the Ewing one.
Yes. She talked about maybe wanting to get like a portrait of a wolf head or something on it. So I don't think any of the details of that matter as long as it's swear we'll get anything on it. I guess the group of pickleball players was called the Wolf Pack of Friends or something, so that's why they wanted to put it on there. We'll vote on it tonight. If it's approved, I will continue through what next steps are with Parks and Rec. Work with the manager, DPW to see what's fruition. Do you have any questions about? The bench will be installed by.
I do install the one up the cribs.
I think me and Red, met with DPW about the specific spot, so that you can see. Look from there.
Anything else?
Does that all sound good to you, Jason? Yes.
Finance, Tim? Okay. Public safety, Nancy?
Thanks, Ray. I did not have a public safety meeting on November 18th. But I do have a little bit of updates. Just in terms of the police department, which is the major public safety thing in addition to fire and EMS. And basically, that's just that we have two officers who are provisional full-time officers at this point. And they are gonna be testing soon to become full-time officers without the provisional in front of them. And we're fully expecting that they will both pass, so that would be great. And congratulations again to Jordan and Jonathan, who graduated from the academy tonight. Yay for them. Very glad to hear that. And as far as I know, there's been a lot of training going on for all four, particularly the three newest ones, Michael Santucci and Jordan and Jonathan, getting used to their names. We have two Jordans, by the way. The part-time officer's name is Jordan. We did not get the COPS grant that we applied for earlier this year. But I think that we're gonna start working on the grant for next year immediately, and that may be what will be the focus of the next public safety meeting. Which if I have one in December, will be on December 16th. Other than that, I just wanna wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for coming tonight.
Thanks, Nancy. Next up, strategic plan committee, Trish.
Thank you, Mr. President. As many of you will recall, we recently merged with the Community Relations Committee. So I've asked my co-chair Sylvia to mention a bit about our meeting last week. Did you want to talk about the computer?
Thank you, I believe you were done. yes, we did meet and, there was discussion with the canoe club. And they gave some suggestions and ideas about this traffic situation on Arch Street. And, we're, waiting to, discuss this further, and we should have more information for you as time goes on. And also, next month, there will not be a strategic planning or a community relation combined meeting. The meeting will be canceled next month. And to each of you, a very blessed and happy Thanksgiving.
For quick reference, I've also shared on the screen that's conveniently behind everyone's heads. The diagram provided by members of the Sylvan Canoe Club were very gracious for their input. Fortunately, a lot of their suggestions are very low budget, mainly, as you can see, traffic white paints for traffic calming. Potentially the addition of a speed hump or two to be further evaluated in discussion with our engineer, Matt Pitch, who was also present at that meeting. Next month, we've invited members of the area, most notably Still City Rowing, to meet with us and the Canoe Club and Matt to look at this in further detail. So this is in conjunction with paving that's happening on Arch Street next year, which is our successful 2024 multi-modal transportation fund grant. So the paving is happening. Essentially, we're just trying to capitalize on this opportunity in whatever low budget ways we can to make it as safe and pedestrian friendly as possible.
Very nice.
Now we're good.
Very nice. Is that it? Very good, thank you. Next up, personnel, John?
Thank you. So we did not have a meeting on the 19th this month, but I did distribute to the council the citizen complaint form for review. That was the latest draft. I wanted everyone to take a look at it. Hopefully we can get that ratified next business meeting perhaps. So hopefully you can all take a look at it, give us your thoughts. If there's anything that you disagree with or that you think that we should add or take out, edit, please let us know as soon as possible. Other than that, I just wanted to congratulate our two new officers graduating the academy. Wonderful to have two new officers on the force, and really happy that our force is back to full strength. And I also just wanted to wish everyone a really happy Thanksgiving. And I know we had a little acrimonious debate here tonight, but we're gonna get everything worked out. Everyone is, we're concerned about our town. We love our town. We have different views, about how we should approach things. Obviously, the finances are a big sticking point. It's always a tough issue when we're talking about money. There's a lack of, federal funding, we're trying to always squeeze money from the state to try to get us more grant money. And so it's always up to us. We have to be self-reliant on a lot of things, try to make our town work. It's difficult. We have to make tough decisions up here. So, yes, it's tough. It may seem like we don't get along, we fight a little bit, but we're just trying to make things work for the town. That's all. That's all I have to say. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks, John. No ordinary items. We'll go to action items. There's a motion. I'll accept the motion to take the resignation of Pat McCarthy from the Civil Service Commission. Civil Service Commission member Pat McCarthy has resigned as a result of moving from the borough. At this time, I will entertain a motion to accept Pat's resignation.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Floda,
One second.
second by Dr. Carpenter. Are there any questions?
Just want to thank Pat for his service.
Me too. Thank you, Pat.
Same here.
All in favor?
I,
Opposed? Passed.
I just want to add that I've been saying this for 4 years. In the, I'm not saying I don't believe anybody, but for sake of transparency, I'm going to repeat this, that all resignations, whether it be council members or employees of the borough, should be distributed to every member on this council.
Right.
Because if not, we're just taking somebody's word for it that this person resigned, and I need a piece of paper in front of me with their signature on it that says that they resigned.
Jason, did he put something in?
An email to the chief.
There's an email to the chief?
Did you distribute that to all of us?
Thank you. Okay, next up, motion to appoint Sandra Vicky Bell to the permanent member of the Civil Service Commission. With the vacancy created by Pat's resignation, council must appoint a permanent replacement. The commission has recommended Sandy Vicky Bell. Is there any discussion on this appointment by any member? If not, I will entertain a motion to appoint her to the commission.
I will move to appoint Sandra Rebecca Bell to fill the vacant position on the Civil Service Commission effective December 2, 2025.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Jamelis, second by Ms. Redzak. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Okay, the next up is, we have one in here for the tree,
Yeah,
or the bench.
the bench is, yeah.
Did I take that out of my? Oh, it's stuck, I'm sorry. Next up is making a motion to accept a bench donation from Renee Gable. Councilman Floda has been approached with a generous donation of a bench by Renee Gable. Councilman Floda would like to Councilman Floda, would you like to expand on this donation at this time?
Anybody have any further questions from what I presented? No.
I'll entertain a motion to accept the bench donation.
I move to accept the donation of a park bench by Renee Gable.
Second.
First by Dr. Carpenter, second by Mr. Floda. Are there any questions? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Okay, next up. At this time, I want to make a comment about this next motion. There's going to be a motion about to plant a tree in honor of Herb Baines, who unfortunately passed away this morning. So I'd like to take a moment of silence for Mr. Burns, I'm sorry, Burns. Thank you. Apparently, Mr. Burns was a site manager down there and was very instrumental with the committee and very instrumental in making things work and doing a lot of going above and beyond. Garden Club has approached Councilwoman Redzak with a request to plant a tree at the community garden as a memorial for one of its members. Councilwoman Redzak, would you like to discuss the details of the request?
Just point of clarification, apologies, this is coming from the Verona Community Garden, not the Garden Club, which is a separate entity. But nevertheless, when Herb stepped away recently, we wanted to find a way to honor him even before he passed, unfortunately. Herb's been an integral member of the garden in our broader community, including organizations such as the Rosedale Food Pantry, and an inspiration to many of us. So I think this is very important. The details, however, are still being worked out. So I would amend this request to say in conjunction with shade tree recommendations and with the approval of utility companies and our engineer to ensure proper right of way. They are requesting that it be planted on the exterior of the fence. So some details are to be sorted out.
In the right of way,
That,
in the right of way,
Like,
between the road and the fence.
Okay.
Like where they, been planning, where the tree gets for plants too.
yeah,
yeah, it would be like that, I guess.
I was gonna say that if it was in the park, I would like to push this presented Parks and Rec, but if it's gonna be outside of the park. And I don't want anybody to think that I don't want this memorial tree. I just feel that if we were to put it inside the park and not ask the 7 members of Parks and Rec what the recommendation is to plant a tree inside the park, probably. So if it's outside of the park, I'll put it on the next month's agenda until it's being planned.
So you're considering the fence as the boundary of the park?
Yeah, like. We don't,
Okay, I'm just clarifying, that's all.
because Parks and Rec, a couple of Parks and Rec members saw this on the agenda, and reached out to me and didn't understand how. A community garden that's that small would benefit from shade of a tree. Because you need a sun for a garden. So they were just asking legitimate questions that they should be asking. And I said I would bring it up in the meeting. If it was gonna be inside the garden itself. Brought to Parks and Rec. Looking.
Yeah. Very good. This time I will entertain a motion to approve this tree planting. Yes,
I motion to approve the memorial tree planting by the Verona Community Garden with the following amendments. To be in the exterior of the community garden outside of the fence with proper right of way, not to conflict with utility requirements with approval from our rural engineer and with the recommendations of our chamber commission.
I'll second that motion.
first amendment by Ms. Redzak, second by Dr. Carpenter. Are there any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Passed. Thank you.
I just want to say, I'm gonna miss her. He's a really nice guy, and I think it's pretty interesting that we're making this motion on the same day
Yeah.
that he passed.
Right.
So,
Very good. Next up is the 2026 budget. Motion to approve the advertisement of the 2026 budget. The interim manager has presented council with an updated budget reflecting changes to the expenses as a result of the recent staffing changes in the police department. At this time, I will entertain a motion to approve the advertisement for the 2026 budget as presented.
I would like to make a motion to approve the advertisement of our preliminary 2026 budget, which is gonna be different than what we saw tonight. And for planned adoption, as long as everything goes well on December.
Motion by Dr. Carpenter,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Redzak. Are there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Next up, the Borough Engineer has prepared a resolution for the grant funds through Allegheny Valley Cog North. The amount of $54,000 for improving accessibility. At this time, I will entertain a motion to approve the resolution.
I think just give you one point on this.
I was gonna take the motion in second, and I was gonna ask for some.
Sure, just to clarify both of these next two motions here, Mr. President. The first is for the 54,000. This is for second, this is for north, and this will cover north to center. There's no match on these funds that we're applying through the phone.
But it says, it doesn't say what it's for.
Oh, these are for ADA ramps.
ADA ramps. Okay. Both of them are ADA ramps.
The first one is.
First one's ADA ramp.
It's 54,000 and from on north or on second from north to center. So we'll cover those ADA. For the second motion, which is $60,060, this is for sewer lining on Penn and Arch. There will be a 35% match that will come from the sewer fund, but this will not come about until 2027.
Can I,
What's the match for the first one?
There's no match.
Okay.
okay,
Can we do the motion first?
okay,
I'll
okay.
make the motion.
Motion by Ms. Redzak,
Second.
second by Mr. Floater. Any questions?
No, the first, we're doing the first
The
one.
first one.
Yeah.
Did I read it? I don't think I read it. The Borough Engineer has prepared a resolution for grant funds to the Allegheny Valley North Cog, in the amount of $54,000 for improving accessibility. This time, we entertained a motion. First and second, no questions? All in favor? Opposed? Passed. Okay, the second resolution. Borough Engineer has prepared a resolution for grant funds for the Allegheny Valley North Cog in the amount of $60,060 for the borough-related improvement programs. At this time, I will entertain a motion to approve the resolution.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Flotis, second by Mr. Long. Are there any questions?
Yes. Couple questions. Sewer lining on Penn and Arch. I know that they lined my sewer line a few years ago. Do you know what section of Arch and Penn this is gonna be on?
No.
Because I don't think they need to do mine again. It's only been like 6 years or something.
I think
Right
Matt,
after your section.
I think Matt said it was down by the gravel section.
Oh, the gravel section.
I believe he said that, I could be wrong, but I think he said they had DPW cameraing the sewer lines and they were. Because they're doing all the sewer replacement down there, they were making sure that they got it all and. There were certain sections that didn't need to be completely replaced, that you could just put sewer linings in. I believe it was the gravel section, maybe affected by the moose.
I don't know how far, I know.
There's two
Yeah.
sections for
Okay.
lining, but they don't
Okay.
need dug up and replaced, he could just.
Right, they do this, they did that whole lining thing, it took a couple weeks and it was kind of stinky, but I was glad that they did it. So there wasn't a problem, so I know that my section of Arch Street does not need to be done, I don't know if they ever did Penn. At any part of Penn, okay,
They did some with Sylvan,
okay,
that
okay,
was a couple years ago.
okay, just to clarify, Jason, what did you say the match was on this?
35%.
35%, thank you, okay, thank you, those are my questions.
There's been a motion and a second. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Announcements and information. Mr. Provenza.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good evening, everyone. Newsletter. We're currently working on our spring edition of the newsletter. And this edition will cover March, April, and May. The ads and the articles are going to be due on Sunday, February the 1st. And for articles, Dawn Ward can be reached at 412-828-3607 or at veronanewsroom@gmail.com. And for ads, I can be reached at 412-828-7726. Chamber of Commerce. A reminder, don't forget about Saturday, December the 6th. Our Chamber of Commerce is going to have a Christmas event right here at Bank Park.
Railroad Park.
Railroad Park, I'm sorry. And we're planning a fun-filled day for everyone. It will be from 4 to 8 p.m. And it's going to include live music, a bonfire, caroling, Mr. and Mrs. Claus, children's crafts and face painting, Polar Express movie here in the Borough Building, food trucks, breweries, and distillery. And also, we're going to have a shuttle bus, and the shuttle stops are going to be the Verona Fire Department, St. Joseph's Church, Second and South, Burner Elementary, First and Center, Acclamation Brewing, Grand Street and West Railroad Avenue, and East Railroad Avenue at Railroad Park. And it will be a very nice time, nice family time, so we invite all of you to be there. Also, Twin Borough Ministries, the next community dinner will be held tomorrow at the Verona Methodist Church from 4:30 to 6:30. And it will be sponsored by the Verona Methodist Church. Historical Society, there will be no meeting in December, but we're going to have a Christmas gathering and it's Oakmont Yacht Club. And that'll be on Thursday, December the 18th at 5 p.m. For reservations, you can call Rhoda Wharf at 412-828-3607. And the cutoff date for reservation will be Monday, December the 15th. ALOM, I spoke with them today, and they have a newly elected officials course, which is a comprehensive training program, and it's for new local government officials. They will begin on Saturday, December the 6th. And for more information, ALOM can be reached at 412-261-2521. And we do have a couple new people coming on board with us, so I share with that with them in mind, or anyone else that would want to go also. Let's see. Do we have any questions or comments? Not. That concludes my reports, and I thank you very much. Again, happy Thanksgiving. I said it too soon.
Thank you, Sylvia.
You're welcome.
At this time, I'll take comments from the public. Please approach the podium or raise your virtual hand. Please state your name and address and try to limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Happy Thanksgiving to all of you too.
You
Thank you for
too.
Vicky Bell, 619 Third Avenue. On discussion on the budget this evening, and I appreciate all that discussion. I support Mary Sheridan 100% of what she said. Okay, we need a police department here. We need a competitive police department. And it's been needed for a long time. My problem with all of this is that for the majority of the year, meeting after meeting, month after month, we heard from all of council, and I'm not singling out one person, that there was nothing to report on the finances. I think if something could be done, I know when I was on council, Jerry Kenna started a state of affairs financial report, like quarterly, about the finances for the borough. I think residents would be very happy about getting some sort of acknowledgement via the newsletter. It comes out 4 times a year. Don't we all get a bank statement every month from your bank to let you know? I know my financial advisor gives me quarterly reports. So why can't the borough put out how much money is there, what's being used, where's the transfer, so on and so forth? I think it would just resolve a lot of issues with, should we raise the millage 2%, 1%, what are we doing? I just think the public has a right to know where their money's going. The second thing I want to say is something that happened this evening when all the council to know, and I'm glad the chief is here because I think this is a public safety. I was on my way to another meeting at 5:30 this evening. It's raining, it's dark, coming down Center Avenue. And there was a person in a motorized wheelchair coming down Center Avenue. No umbrella or anything, just driving his vehicle, his motorized chair wasn't a vehicle, down Center Avenue. I was flashing the cars coming up Center Avenue because there was one traveling without their lights on. So I don't know what happened. I hope the person got wherever they needed to go.
It's been addressed in the past.
Okay, it was a real danger. to
He
see.
can't go off the sidewalk on Center because it's so bad.
Oh, I understand that, but I mean, the cars were parked along there too. So
I know.
it was a public safety issue.
The only thing I could do is ticket him. He's handicapped. I really don't want to.
But I mean, something has
Is that
to
the
be
same
done.
fella Tom
Yes,
was up on
yes.
Fourth and?
Yes, that's him.
Hopefully the car driver, the car coming up without their headlights on.
That's not my neighbor, is it the
No.
one that's
You know.
the other?
No.
I just wanna ask Jason,
Thanks, Sandy.
do we put our financial reports on the website? There, and I know we had a first quarter report and a 6-month report. I don't know whether those got included on the website or not. Okay,
But not everybody has a computer. And not everybody is aware, and sometimes the borough website isn't user friendly. So if it could go out in the quarterly report, everybody would get it then, I think, would they, Dawn?
Yeah, they.
I mean, it would be nice to know, because I know Mr. Ward last month asked what funds do we have? Do we have 1 fund, 2 funds, 3 funds? What are the funds used for? So, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Let me. I'm Ken Rodriguez. This is the second time this lovely man told me it happened something, you've done nothing. Nobody says anything. I look forward to sitting next to you coming up. You should say that.
Is there a sergeant in the arms, sir? Is that Tom? There's a sergeant in the arms?
Nobody says anything.
I didn't even hear him.
Oh, right,
no.
but you heard me calling him.
Select the
I
fair.
heard you just talk about.
That's an idiot. It's the second time.
What?
If I did,
You got to.
I didn't swear. And you wanna tell me that I shouldn't say anything? Right,
You
exactly.
shouldn't interrupt me.
First of all, we were all talking and stuff.
I understand, but you shouldn't do
Right.
that.
Well, why didn't you stop him then? Why didn't you
He's a
stop him?
council member.
Oh, you so you can say what you have to
This is a
say. Just
workshop
because he's a
meeting.
councilman.
This is a workshop meeting of council members to discuss things. It is not for the public to blurt out stuff until it is registered comments from the public and
I
comments from the
agree,
public.
and I apologize for doing it, but that's okay for him to do that?
No, it's not.
Because he apologized before, but then it happens again. But she has nothing to say ever that you wanna talk about people. You don't do anything.
Sit down.
Right. We'll see you soon.
Hey, first out of your place, tell her.
Look forward to sitting next.
That's the Mr. Mayor's place.
Howard.
We're the Sergeant of
Not the
Arms.
mayor's
The
place.
Sergeant of Arms, not you.
Then I have to bring something up because earlier this man stood up, asked him his name and kind of made a threat.
Oh, that's a threat now, huh?
He said.
When you say you'll be seeing a lot more of me,
No, you'll be hearing a lot more of me, is what I said.
okay. Just.
And I got up there and I told him what
Now
he
we have to
Just
say.
be very
Right.
careful because you're not allowed to threaten.
said. I didn't threaten him. I told him I'd be up here, you'll hear more from me. That's what I said.
You
I did not
are
threaten
that,
him.
behind the scenes. You know, nobody's face though, right? Right, that's how that works with you and you.
Anybody else?
Good luck.
I don't see no.
So I just wanna say, this past light night, 7 businesses came together and we had the trolley. It was very well received. And it shows that even in the past, some of the businesses did not agree with each other, but we were able to collaborate and made a very fun night for everyone. And I hope we can do this again. And December 6th, Jen, which now is the president from the group for the chamber, and Rhoda are really doing Christmas in Verona, and past president Tom. And we just hope everybody participates. It's a holiday season. Let's just get along. It's a 2,500 people town. We are like a dysfunctional family. There's no reason we can't just work with each other. So, but Light Up Night was fun. Everybody had a great time. I wanna thank the chamber. I wanna thank all the businesses involved. I want to individually call those businesses because it was a great effort. And I want to say thank you for Acclamation. Thank you for Carnivores, and they contribute a lot of money, but because Trinboro wasn't open, so they're like, it's okay. And for the same token, Lawrenceville Distillery did not open, they contribute the same amount of money. There's no problem, don't stop at my place, but we'll give you a 35% discount ticket, so we print out a thing. In a groove, off the rails, and I think everybody, Primal Pigment. And I think Primal Pigment sold out all their ornaments by 8 p.m. I went to talk to their staff, so it's been a great effort. So we hope more people will participate next year. We hope to make this a big event. I found out Oakmont did not have their drone show this year because it cost too much money. They didn't have anything, so it really benefited our trolley. But yeah, so let's just all have a great time. It's a holiday season. That's it, that's all.
There was a lot of people in town too,
Yeah, it was.
more
Yeah.
so than.
I feel bad, I want like,
Yeah, we had about 40 or 50 that came
Yeah.
to church, so.
And oh, let's not forget the warming stations. Let's thank
That
all
was
the
nice.
volunteers,
And
Rhoda, Dawn, and the church. It was fantastic.
Yeah,
It
that
was
was
just a wonderful time. So thank you so much, everybody.
yeah,
Thank
thank
you,
you,
Sherry.
Sherry. Can I just want to add to that, I meant to mention something about that and just say what a great event that was and thank people. I apologize for not remembering to say that. So thank you for bringing that up and for everybody that was involved and did work one way or another. It was a great event, and if we can keep doing that and build on that, we can have more and more people seeing the parade in Verona. And so that was great. Thank you. Thank you.
Anybody else? I don't see any hands. I'd like to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. I'll take a motion to adjourn. Motion by Mr. Cadenza, second by Dr. Parker. Any questions? All in favor?
Happy
Opposed?
Thanksgiving, everybody.
Thank you.
That was a great effort on all of us. It was a lot of fun.